Space. No, wait, we start over. Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise, whose something or other journey to boldly go where no man has gone before. We are continuing our journey through old school RPGs, and this is one I'm really, really excited to talk about. I've actually searched on YouTube a lot looking for stuff about this particular RPG, because when I was getting in my nostalgia phase for this stuff, I was just consuming as much as I can, and there's actually really very little out there on it, which is disappointing. It's long out of print, though you can now get reprints of the rules at Drive-Thru RPG for very cheap too. It's actually really affordable, and I'll mention that again at the end of the video. But anyway, to cut to the chase, Star Frontiers.
Look at that. That's awesome, actually.
Look at that great box art. I mean, that's just awesome.
It is really cool.
It's cool stuff. Now it's not quite 70s. This particular,
I'm gonna guess 81.
82. So Star Frontiers is obviously a science fiction role-playing game put out by TSR, who was they were the original creators and publishers of Dungeons and Dragons, as well as the Marvel Superheroes role-playing game, which we've talked about in a previous episode. They were putting out role-playing games for basically everything you can imagine.
Of course.
It was, people think role-playing games are big right now, and they are. Dungeons and Dragons is more mainstream than it's ever been. But boy, in the early to mid-'80s, RPGs were just like in a golden age. And you name it, like everyone was putting them out. And I was always a really big fan of Star Frontiers. We played this for a couple of years. It is it's kind of a somewhat pulpy science fiction game set in kind of a frontier space world.
Okay.
Or not world, but it's like a frontier space section of the galaxy where human beings have just gotten out there and settled, and there's a couple of other alien races. Everything is controlled by corporations. So so it's that kind of thing where corporations control everything.
It's like Firefly.
Actually, it's a very similar to Firefly. As I was explaining it to someone the other day, and sort of said it's kind of like Firefly meets Mass Effect, the video game. So the stuff that comes with the box. First and foremost, let's go with the fun little doodads and stuff like that. So it comes with all these little dozens and dozens of these little cardboard chits that are represent.
Jeez.
I mean, look, I'm just pulling out bag after bag
God.
after bag, and those are to represent characters and vehicles. So you've got your space police, your space pirates, and all your player characters and your various aliens. It uses these tiny little cardboard pieces because, let's just get right to the good stuff, the maps.
Oh boy. Ooh, look at the colors. Look at the colors.
Look at that.
Wow.
So it is this futuristic city. This is a cityscape, and you can see with these tiny little squares. They're the size of those little cardboard chips. Right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so this, I don't remember the exact scale of the map. I think each square is meant to be 10 meters or 15 meters or something like that. But the city has, you're right, there's a monorail system that runs through the city. You could see that the map specifies what the various buildings are, the size of the interiors of the buildings. There's park areas, there's elevated walkways and city streets and stuff like that. Then on the other side of the map, you've got various ecosystems, various biomes. So for when you're on different planets, there's like the desert biome. There's like a hilly mountain wasteland. There's a forest kind of setting, some little towns and stuff like that. So the little cardboard guys are how you figure out where your dudes are and all that. It also comes with this map, which is a starship deck plan.
Oh, it's laminated.
That's right. And then on the other side is a planet with a big giant hexed map.
Oh wow, jeez.
Now you know your character sheet from Dungeons and Dragons. Look at how much more stripped down and simplified
Wow,
these
look at
sheets are.
that.
Like way easier to deal with. So there's 3 books that comes with the core Star Frontier set. First, there's just Crash on Volturnus, which is a 30-page like pre-written adventure, and just like a lot of these sets from back in the day, the TSR games always came with an introductory adventure that obviously was meant to introduce you to the game.
Right.
It was a basic stripped down thing, like here's how to play, and it shows you sort of what the game can do. And it's a fine enough little adventure, and there's some monsters, some alien creatures, but then the core of it are two things. And again, this is very similar to the Marvel Superheroes game. First, there is the thin book, which is the basic rules that just outlines the basics of here's how to play. This is the book that, going with this, I could teach you how to play this game in 10-20 minutes.
Okay.
And then you've got the expanded full game rules, which are like the slightly more advanced version of that. Right? Every game system always starts with like, what are your stats? What are your stats? Like, what are they?
Right.
So with this one, you have 4 pairs of stats. You have like 8 characteristics all together, and they're like lumped into pairs. So one pair is strength and stamina, or dexterity and reaction speed, then intelligence and logic, and then personality and leadership. And these all get paired together. In this instance, the numbers are like a 0 to 100. And then you could be either a human being, which for people who don't know, we're humans. Then you've got the various character races, and you will definitely like the first one.
Oh boy.
So the very first one is the Dralacites. And you know the little like stretchy guys from the Herculoids?
Yeah, I was gonna say he looks like.
That's basically what Dralacites are.
That's amazing.
They can't like mold and shape themselves as quickly as that, like create a limb or something.
Right.
But if you're playing one of those characters, you can be like, today I want to have 3 arms and 2 legs, or for this mission I think I'm going to need 4 legs and I'm only going to need 1 arm, but I need to move fast. And each one of the different alien races has like their own society and customs, their attitudes, so that it'll tell you like what their general personalities are usually like,
right,
and what other alien races they get along with or don't get along with, and special abilities and stuff like that, and like their social customs. One of the other alien races are the Rusks, which are kind of like giant praying mantis kind of people.
It's disturbing.
They're actually the like the computer and tech experts of this setting. Those are the monkey guys that you saw like,
on the cover.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those guys are cool.
They're kind of like the warrior race, even though they're small and not like strong. They tend to be more agile than strong because they're kind of like monkeyish, but they tend to be like more aggressive and combat focused. And then the last race that's in the core book is a race you can't play as a player, is the Savar. And these are the enemies. And these guys are kind of cool. They're kind of like a worm-like lizard race. The whole gist behind them is that they are a mysterious race that came from somewhere else in the galaxy. No one is really sure where they came from. All they really know is that they just want to conquer the hell out of everything.
Okay.
But they do it through not just out-and-out conflict, like not just out-and-out war, but subterfuge and spying. They've got like these abilities to sort of hypnotize people, to get people on their side. So they get spies into the corporations and Starlaw and stuff like that. So there's double agents that you don't know about. And their other thing that's really cool about them, I love that this is sort of built into the game in the book. Savar have never been taken alive and refuse to be. They will always suicide rather than be taken in.
That's amazing.
So it keeps like mystery behind who and what they are. They're always kind of the power players behind things, but you don't know anything about them. There are a few other playable races in the game, but they are not in this core set of rules. They came in a book that came later called Zebulon's Guide to the Galaxy, if I remember correctly.
That sounds very
Hitchhikers.
Yeah.
I never got the book. I have read it in PDF form, but I didn't. That book came out after we stopped playing. Basically, the game just stopped being produced. Like that was one of the last things they ever published by it. But that book has a couple of additional alien races. Star Frontiers is a skill-based game, what they call a skill-based game, and so that means like most of what you're doing is based around having a set of skills. You choose when you're creating your guy what your core sets of skills are going to be. I believe, if I remember right, you start off with like 3 skills, and 2 of them are going to be in your whatever your core is, and then 1 can be from anything. So there's like three cores. There's military skills, technological skills, and what they call biosocial skills.
Okay.
And so you'll start off and you'll pick, like, let's say you're going to be a military dude. You know, you've got beam weapons, demolitions, martial arts, melee weapons, projectile weapons, blah, blah, blah. Or the technological guys are like robotics and hacking and computer skills. And biosocial is, medical skills or leadership skills and that kind of stuff. The different things that you want to do are going to be based on your skills, and then it's got your other, it's got your combat rules and shitloads of weapons. You've got, of course, you have swords that are definitely not lightsabers. One thing that I like about this system, it's easy to learn. It's a pretty cool setting, and I love science fiction stuff, so I'm a fan of this particular game. So then, in addition to Star Frontiers, the one that went with it, which is completely optional, but it was totally fun to have, though we actually didn't play and use this one. When I played it, it was just basically the core game, was then Star Frontiers Nighthawks.
Nighthawks.
This is the Starship Rules.
Starship Rules.
It comes with, again, like tons of these little cardboard chits to represent the ships, and then you know about the maps. There's always maps. So on one side it is various ship decks.
Oh, I like
so
that. I like the brown and the green.
Are like just different decks of like what might be on a typical ship. And this is the part that, well, like when I saw this map, I was like, oh yeah! Especially because I could design my own game just using this map. It's just a big outer space map. Years ago, I made my own game system for outer space, like a sort of conquer the galaxy kind of game. But the one obstacle I could never figure out was a board. That's my board.
Yeah.
Because my game is designed, it's a hex-based game too. So with all these little pieces in this, I can play my game. So Nighthawks, just like the other, comes with a pre-made adventure. This one is the Warriors of the White Light, to show you how to do ship-to-ship combat, and it comes with the tactical operations manual.
Ooh, look at that! That's actually cool looking.
Oh, and I forgot. There's another map. This is the various routes.
Wow, look at that! Jeez.
Through the galaxy, like connecting systems.
You have to take that route to get to that system.
You can go whichever way you want, but it's extremely dangerous.
Okay.
These are the known safe routes.
Oh, okay.
If you take other routes, there's a high probability of running into pirates or getting lost or running into Savar or whatever. So these are like the known and protected routes.
Okay.
You can safely go system to system this way, but if you choose to use other ways, then it's deadly. And then there's some more ship. Yeah, the one lame thing about this is that the ship designs are,
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's funny that they're just ovals and stuff like that. I don't know why they're not set up like the ships like on the cover.
Yeah, and then the big campaign book is what you would expect. This goes over ship-to-ship rules. Here's various ship designs, and so those are a little cooler.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you got your assault carrier, frigates, destroyers, freighters, mine layers. And ag ships are agricultural, right? So battleships, heavy cruisers, light cruisers, assault scouts, fighters. There's rules for equipping your spaceship, for constructing them, spaceship equipment and your hull specifications. You could actually get Nighthawks by itself and just play it as a separate game. It's kind of interesting the way they designed it, because they designed Nighthawks and sort of Alpha Dawn, the core Star Frontiers rules, to work together, but you could also play either of them separately. Like you could play Nighthawks if you just want to play like a ship-to-ship war game. This is all you need is this. You don't need the other set.
Right.
You could ignore it, and you could also just play Star Frontiers, and when you're doing the outer space stuff, just be like, yeah, you fly to the other planet or whatever.
Right.
You don't have to do the other one. Which I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
I like modular game design where you can like take out the parts that you don't need. So that's Star Frontiers. Like there's not much out there for it. There's a small handful of like pre-made adventures. I don't know that there's much more than like a dozen to 20 of them. Which for that might sound like a lot, but back in the day, believe me, that's not a lot. Like I think maybe there's only about a dozen or so pre-made adventures. There was only that Zebulon's Guide to the Galaxy, which was like another rule book. And there's another box set that has different art, but it's just the same as this. Sometimes if you search for the Star Frontier set, you're going to see a different looking art. Still, it's the same game.
Okay.
It's the same rules. And that was kind of it. The game just like lasted a few years and just sort of petered out. And it disappoints me because I really liked it. It's a relatively easy to learn system, but because of that skill system, there's a really wide range of possibility as far as the kind of character you're going to have and play. Like think of a science fiction character that you would like to be from fiction or something. Just think of one.
Boba Fett.
There you go, Boba Fett. So if you wanted to be like sort of a bounty hunter kind of guy who had his sort of abilities, you get the right equipment and you give him the right sort of, if you can give him like tracking abilities maybe, because tracking is a skill in there, the right weapon skills and so on, you can be a Boba Fett kind of character. If you wanted to play Bones, the doctor from Star Trek, you could be that guy. And so I really liked the system, and I had a good time. We didn't play it for as long as we did the other games, and I think that was partly because we just had so many games to play. But during the time that we played, it was a really good time. We were usually set in like these futuristic cities, and there was always like espionage and intrigue and that kind of thing. And you're dealing with like high tech science fiction stuff, and just like you, because you are as well, like I'm a big science fiction fan. And the other thing that I should mention before we go, there actually was a line of official miniatures for the game too.
Ooh.
So and you can routinely find them on eBay. So there are like miniatures for all the different aliens and characters and stuff like that if you wanted to go that route. You don't have to, but if you're into that, that's all on there. The really fun thing about Star Frontiers for anyone who's interested in it, and I do recommend checking it out, if you like the idea of playing a role-playing game that's a science fiction game and you want something that you can introduce your friends to relatively easily, is you go to Drive-Thru RPG. All these sets are available. I think you can get like each one in a nicely bound hard or soft cover. I think they're $16 each, and you get all the rules in just one. Or you could just get the PDF, and I think the PDF is only like $6 or $7, something like that, for both the Nighthawks and the Alpha Dawn set. Plus, most of the pre-made adventures are on there as well, and those are only like $8.50 each. So the price is really good. And even if you want the original stuff, but I'm a sucker for maps and all that. I had to have the box sets and all that. You can find them on eBay for I got these for like $25 each.
Wow. Which
is, I think, a great price for like a box set with all that stuff in it. In fact, I was able, not only, it's so common to be able to, if you're slightly patient, to be able to get them at that prices. I accidentally bought these sets. Like the two that I showed you, there's 3 more sitting in a pile back there because I accidentally bought them too many times because I thought like I was putting in low bids and I didn't think I was going to get them. I have multiples I'm about to like resell to get rid of my extras. Hopefully people are enjoying our old school RPG, retro, look back type stuff. Please let us know in the comments or tweet to us on Twitter. You can find our channel at Nerd Out With Me on Twitter.
And you are Eric San Juan on Twitter.
That's right. And also, we love your support on Patreon, which is at patreon.com/nerdoutwithme. Put your laptop down onto the floor and mount it and hit that bell with your groin. Thanks for hanging with us. I've been Eric.
I was Tig.